Hey guys, thanks for checking out the video. Southside Braves here, and today I have the Pokemon World Domination Season Preview video. I plan on doing videos like this each week as the season's going on, where I kind of break down the matches that happened, the results, show you the current standings, some of the league leaders and the stats, and then show you the upcoming schedule for the week after, and take a look at my specific match for that upcoming week. Obviously, season hasn't started yet, we just had our draft last week, not going to do any of that yet, but I did want to take a look at all the rosters around the league. I showed you mine in a separate video, so mine's not going to be in here. If you want to take a look at my team that I drafted, again, go check out the other video. But I wanted to show some of the stacked teams, some of the really strong teams we have around the league. I'm not going to break down which teams I think are strong or weak or anything, because I haven't played with most of these coaches, so I don't know how they play or what they plan on doing with these teams. So I'm not going to really judge them. I'm just going to take a look at them and tell you some of the Pokemon I like on each team. And that's pretty much going to be how this video rolls. And I'm going to go through pick by pick in the order they were made to show you the teams. So first off, first overall pick, we had Coach Carlos and the Immortal Drampa. First pick, he went with G-Max Cinderace. Very strong Pokemon, obviously, with that new ability. And the ability to G-Max and get off those moves with that ability is just absolutely insane. So that's going to be powerhouse of a Pokemon. Outside of that pick, he also went and built a awesome terrain team, electric terrain team. Pincurchin to set it up, a Alolan Raichu with Surge Surfer, and that new electric move that I can't remember the name off the top of my head that powers up in electric terrain. That's going to be super strong. Hawlucha is a great terrain Pokemon as well. So even Duraludon can be okay in the electric terrain. So this team is very, very scary with those things in mind. Then we move on to the number 2 pick, and we had Coach Arts with the Lake of Rage Gyarados. Again, I don't know most of these coaches, never played with them, so if I'm mispronouncing anyone's names, I apologize. But he got G-Max Grimmsnarl, and I don't actually think he'll use it as a G-Max much this season if I had to guess, because his S-tier mon is Gyarados, and Gyarados is one of the best, if not the best, Dynamax Pokemon in the game. So I think most weeks he'll Dynamax that and just leave Grimmsnarl in normal form, which is he's just a very strong mon outside of being Gigantamaxed, so there's no problem with that. Set up screens, and you can even run bulk up sets and hit hard with Grimmsnarl if you want. Outside of those two, I like Silvally a lot. I think Silvally's been an underrated mon ever since it came out, especially in Draft League when you can make it whatever type you want. Like, that's crucial against some teams if you just are lacking something. Vileplume, I like a lot as a mon. Having that poison type that can get up toxic spikes if somebody's running that against you is always helpful. Ice-Q, I've seen Sweep in the SRL when he got off a belly drum, and that can be very scary if you're not set up for it. And then Vikavolt, I ran in the SRL. I'm a fan of Vikavolt. I think webs are fantastic. And then if you do have webs up, Vikavolt can absolutely hit like a truck. So I think Vikavolt's a very strong C-tier pick. So this is your number 2 pick team with the Lake of Rage Gyarados. Moving on to number 3 was the Straw Hat Crocodiles and Coach Shade. And his G-Max is Toxtricity. I'm going to be honest, don't know a ton about G-Max Toxtricity and never really looked into it. So we'll see if that's what he uses. He has the S-tier mon of Cinderace, which, again, Cinderace with that DLC ability is just insane. So he might as well just Dynamax that if he wants. That's perfectly viable option. Just a very, very strong mon. Again, outside of his top 2, I like Zoroark a lot. I just think it's a cool mon. I don't really know how strong it is, but I think it's an awesome looking mon, and its ability is really cool to me. Braviary, I have seen used to great success. I think Braviary is a very strong mon. Flapple, I think, is another good Dynamax mon. If you want to go that route, I think it can be strong in Dynamax. Less chance, or no chance of missing those moves with that Hustle ability. And lastly, Sableye. I will never underestimate again. I went up against Sableye in the SRL, and it absolutely walled me. I just couldn't do anything to it. It just sat there and didn't die until basically the end of the match, and I think I lost 6-5. So don't underestimate Sableye in that D-tier pick. So this is your number 3 pick team with the Straw Hat Crocodiles. Next, we move to number 4, and we have the Stark Mountain Giratinas. This is actually the first coach I have played against before. This is Coach Manny. He ran the SRL to great success. I love the way he ran that league. What's funny is over there, he beat me pretty good in the regular season. Didn't get a chance to play in the playoffs. But in the regular season, he beat me using a very strong Sun team. He had Torkoal, G-Max Charizard, Leafeon, and Shiftry. Those were kind of the main four that did some damage to me. Here, it looks like he's built a Rain team. He's got Pelipper, Politoed, Poliwrath, Dreadnought. Like, he's got all this Rain team. So I just think it's funny how he went from Sun to Rain here. But outside of the Rain, he's still got G-Max Rillaboom. Rillaboom is a strong Pokemon. Corviknight with his S-tier pick. I love Corviknight. I've gotten G-Max Corviknight in multiple leagues, and I get it not for the G-Max, but for regular Corviknight. So having that Pokemon there is awesome for him. Mudsdale has always given me problems. I've never been able to successfully beat a Mudsdale without it taking at least one thing from me. So I think Mudsdale is a very strong Pokemon. And then I know he used Liepard in the other league. I don't know how successful he was with Liepard. It usually was just a Sunsetter, I think. And then I don't know if it really did much outside of that. But I know that's a Pokemon he's used to using. So yeah, this is Manny's team with the Stark Mountain Giratinas at pick number 4. Moving on to pick number 5, we have the Lisbon Arcanines. Again, this is another coach that was over in the SRL that I did have the honor of playing over there. If I remember correctly, I think it was very early on, like week 2 or 3 of that league, and I think I picked up like a 1-kill win, like 3-2 or something like that. It was a very, very close match, but I do think I was able to get the W against him. So this is his team over in the PWD. He got G-Max Gengar. Gengar has always been one of my favorite Pokemon since Gen 1, so I'm never going to criticize that pick. Ditto in the S tier. I ran Ditto over in the SRL. Can just really fill in whatever hole you need, and is a great Pokemon to stop people from setting up. If they start setting up, you bring in Choice Scarf Ditto, and all of a sudden, they're screwed. You now have that setup mon they were using. Crocodile in the A tier. Great pick. Strong Pokemon. Like him being back in the game. I missed him from the last time we saw him around in Pokemon. Rotom Mow, obviously not one of the strongest Rotoms, not Rotom Wash or Rotom Heat, but I think all Rotoms can be used successfully, so nothing wrong picking up Rotom Mow there. Type Null down in the C tier, you run Eviolite Type Null, that thing can just wall things. I believe the person that had it in our other league called it the Dynamax Ender or something like that, because he just threw it in against Dynamaxes, it would live and eat up all 3 turns of their Dynamax. So Type Null's a good Pokemon to have there. Last one I want to mention is Sawk down in the D tier. I picked up Sawk as a free agent in the other league, and he was absolutely clutch. So picking up Sawk in the D tier I think is a fantastic pick for him. And this is your pick number 5 team with the Arcanines. Number 6 team here with the number 6 pick was the LA Infernapes. And this is Coach Sosa. Another one never played against before, don't know much about him. But this is the team he picked up. G-Max Hatterene. I always think Hatterene is a very strong Pokemon. I had it in my last league. I used it so poorly that I actually ended up trading it halfway through the season because I wasn't using it correctly, wasn't getting any success out of it, but I know it can be very, very strong. Volcarona in that S tier. Obviously, people know what Volcarona can do. You let it set up a Quiver Dance or 2, and it can just run through your team. So that's something that people are going to have to plan for every single week when going up against the Infernapes. So, great pick there. Seismitoad in the A tier is a great Pokemon to have. I've used it before in other leagues. It can do a lot of different things, actually. It can actually be a physical or a special attacker. It can be a setup Pokemon. It can be a support utility Pokemon for your team. So, it actually can fit a lot of different roles, and it's a great A tier pick to have. B tier, he's got Noivern. Again, Noivern's another one I had in my last league. He's actually the one I traded Hatterene for, I believe. No, I traded Torkoal for Noivern. But Noivern, very strong Pokemon, very, very fast. Speed's always huge in draft leagues, so having a very fast mon in Noivern is helpful. It can be a fast defogger or just run like a choice spec set and just destroy things with it. So Noivern, great B tier Pokemon to have. Roserade down that C tier. Again, I like having the poison type that can eat up toxic spikes if other people set it up, or for Roserade, set up your own toxic spikes. So Roserade, nice C tier pick. Outside of that, the only other one I want to mention is his very last pick, Unfezant. I was actually going to try to get Unfezant with my last pick, and I was surprised to see somebody else grab it. So, but good pick for him. Obviously, if I wanted it, you know that I think it can be used successfully. So, good pick there with the Unfezant. This is your LA Infernape set, pick number 6. So next, I'm actually going to skip pick number 7. The guy who had that pick dropped the league already, so we're not even going to bother looking at the couple of picks he made. We're just going to completely skip that one. So we're going to go down to pick number 8, and we have the Tokyo Toxapex and Coach James. So he started off with the, I actually think he went Toxapex first in the S tier, if I remember correctly. Obviously, I think if you name your team after a Pokemon, you've used it before and probably want it and know what to do with it. So him having Toxapex is probably exactly what he wanted, and Toxapex is just a wall that is unkillable at times. If you don't bring something to deal with Toxapex, you are just going to lose to it. So Toxapex, never a problem picking that. He's got Gmax Duraludon, who is, I always think he's strong, but every time I've gone up against him or seen him used, it hasn't worked out as well as I thought it should. So, but I know it can be successful, so I got no problem with the Gmax Duraludon pick. Haxorus can hit like a truck in that A tier if you run him correctly. Basically, the most successful set I've seen is just the Choice Band and just click buttons and try to kill things. So we'll see if that's what he does. Maybe he runs Dragon Dance set. That can be successful as well. But Haxorus, I think, is a very strong mon. Whimsicott can set up that Tailwind, set up for your team in that way, and is underrated offensively as well. That Moonblast from Whimsicott after the Tailwind can hurt. So Whimsicott is a great Pokemon to have. My buddy Mason loves Whimsicott. It's one of his favorites, so I had to say something about Whimsicott. Outside of that, going into his C tier, he's got Serena down there. Serena is a Pokemon that every time I go up against it, I underestimate it. I'm like, oh, I'll have something extra for Serena, and then Serena picks up 2 or 3 kills, and all of a sudden wreck my plan. So don't underestimate Serena in that C tier. She can be very, very strong. So this is your pick number 18 with the Tokyo Toxapex. Moving on from that to pick number 9, we had the Quagsires. They are the Scionwood City Quagsires and Coach Ryan. He picked up probably my favorite Gmax Lapras. I just think it's awesome. Setting up the free Aurora Veil is just fantastic. It almost forces people to run Brick Break against you every week. So, like, that's just an awesome Gmax and awesome utility to get out of your Gmax move. His S tier, he's got Rotom Heat, obviously one of the 2 better Rotoms. I believe Rotom Heat is past Rotom Wash in usage on Showdown and OU. So I believe Rotom Heat's the most used now. So good pick there. Like I said, all the Rotoms are successful. Never a problem picking any of them. Scizor was one of my most excited Pokemon to be brought back in the DLC. I love him being back in the game. He's just great Pokemon. One of my favorites. Like absolute top 5 Pokemon of mine. So Scizor, great pick for him in the A tier. Indeedee down in the B tier can set up that Psychic Terrain for you and can be very successful doing that. Like I said, Indeedee can be a great support mon. Can provide a little bit of offensive usage and that. So I think Indeedee is a strong Pokemon down in that B tier. Outside of that, last one I want to mention is Boltund in the C tier. I think Boltund is one of the most underrated Pokemon from this generation. That Strong Jar with the different moves he can run with it and how fast he is can come in so clutch. So I think Boltund in the C tier is a fantastic pick for this team. Again, I think he is so underrated. So this is your 9th pick team with the Scionwood City Quagsires. Pick number 10 went to the New York Nickets. 3rd coach I've actually played against before. This is Bishmi. I believe, yeah, I think I played him week 1 of the SRL, and his Weezing over there, his Kanto Weezing, I think it was Kanto Weezing, right? Yeah. Absolutely wrecked my team. I got wrecked by a Weezing, and it was such an unfortunate way to start my season over there, but he played it well. He's a very smart coach, knows what he's doing, so I think he can be very successful, and especially with the team he's picked up, because he has taken over for Manny with picking up the Sun team. He's got both Torkoal and Ninetales to set up the Sun for him. He's got Charizard that can run Solar Power. He's got Venusaur that can run Chlorophyll. He's got Heliolisk that has Solar Power. He has Shiftry that has Chlorophyll. Like, this Sun team can be insane. So, like I said, just watching out for that. Outside of those Sun Core I just mentioned, like I said, his Gmax Venusaur can run that Chlorophyll and be fast as can be. His SD Grimmsnarl can set up screens for him and make sure his team lives while it's in the sun, which shouldn't be a problem for him, but imagine having the sun up with screens. It's just a very scary thought. Outside of that, like I said, Heliolisk is a very strong Pokemon in the sun, can hit really hard. Shiftry becomes very fast with the Chlorophyll, and it can hit harder than you think. So, like I said, I think most weeks he's going to bring some sun team, and it's going to be very, very scary. So this is your 10th pick with the New York Nickets. Moving on to pick number 11, we have the Fargo Phalanx and Coach Shiny Shuriken. He's actually the commissioner of this league. I did play with him in the SRL as well. Picked up a nice 5-0 win against him in that league. Now, I will say it was probably the luckiest crit I've ever had in a game. I started off very well. My team was doing exactly what I wanted it to do. He brought in Mimikyu and was setting up, and I didn't really have a great answer for it. And my Vikavolt hit a crit Volt Switch to kill it, keeping the match as lopsided as it was in the score. But if I don't get that crit, I don't know if Mimikyu brings it all the way back, but it's a heck of a lot closer than it ended. So I know he was rather upset by that, and understandably, like I said, the crit was as massive can be. So he's a great coach, knows what he's doing, and like I said, actually runs this league. So let's take a look at his team here. He went Gmax Inteleon, which he ran Inteleon in the last league. I know he liked it quite a bit, and the ability that I can run Sniper now makes it even stronger. So that's a scary mod for him to have. Like how he went with the double starter here. Also got Rillaboom, 2 of the 3 starters. Unfortunately, not the strongest of the starters, but still 2 good Pokemon here. Rillaboom can be very strong for him. Looking down his team, I like the Butterfree pick is interesting to me. I want to see what he does with that, other than just try to put things to sleep or Stun Spore. So we'll see exactly what he does with Butterfree. I'm interested to see how that works out. Surfetched can be a very strong mon, especially with First Impression. First Impression, Close Combat, obviously running things like that. Most of the time I see it Choice Banded, so I'm interested to see if he runs anything other than Choice Band with it. Flareon in the C tier is one of Pokemon I like a lot. I want to say it was the second Pokemon I ever bred competitively. I ran a Guts, Flame, or Toxic Orb Flareon, and I loved that thing. I don't know how viable it really is, but I enjoy that Pokemon a lot. And looking down in the D tier, I always think Kanto Raichu is underrated. The fast Volt Switcher with Fake Out user. Like, I think you can get a lot of use out of Kanto Raichu, so I really like that as a D tier. And I know Skuntank he picked up after somebody else dropped it. He didn't originally draft Skuntank, but he did already make that move to pick up Skuntank and give him that poison type. So yeah, this is the Fargo Phalanx at pick number 11. Alright, so now I'm going to skip pick 12 because that's actually my opponent this week, so I'm going to save them for last. And we're going to go to pick number 13. And this was the Atlanta Sobble and Coach Amoonguss. Alright, so his team here can be very, very bulky. He's got Gmax Blastoise in the top spot. Shell Smashing Blastoise into a Gmax can be very, very scary. Aegislash in the S tier. Aegislash has just been a top tier mon ever since it came out. I know it was in Ubers. I don't think it is anymore. It might still be in Ubers, but I think it's OU again. But Aegislash, very, very strong Pokemon. Tangrowth and Miltank, that combination there can just survive whatever you need it to. Miltank, in my opinion, is one of the most annoying Pokemon in the game to go up against. Absolutely hate Miltank. So he can annoy some opponents with that. I've ran Xatu before. I think Xatu's an underrated mon. It can run Tailwind, Defog, and it can be a Magic Bouncer if you run it right to prevent some of these setup mons with Stealth Rocks and such. So that can be a great mon for you. And I know Hitmonchan, if we look at the other C tier here, Hitmonchan has great coverage, can be a very useful mon, and just gives you a physical attacker that I think Aegislash can be one. He didn't need it as bad as I thought, but Hitmonchan can be a good physical attacker for you. So, yeah, this is pick number 13 with the Atlanta Sobble. Alright, so now going to back to pick number 12, and my opponent for week 1, who I have already prepped for, already have my team decided, so I'm not going to go too into detail about what I think he might bring or anything. But this is the team he drafted. He has Gmax Charizard, And Gmax Charizard, I have never once beaten in my Pokemon career. Anytime there's Gmax Charizard on the other team, I have lost. So hopefully I can break that streak week 1. I mentioned to you Mimikyu in that Shiny Shuriken match, how close Mimikyu almost turned that whole thing around. So I need to make sure that I plan for Mimikyu and not let that happen. Then his next 4 right there can all be strong defensive mons. Gastron, Bronzong, Magneton, and Appleton. All can be walls, so I need to make sure I bring something to get through those, which again, I hopefully have. But again, don't want to go into too much detail and give anything away from my week 1 match. Outside of that, on the right side, his later C tiers and D tiers, he has Turtonator and Frostmoth. Frostmoth, love Frostmoth. I think it's a super cool Pokemon from this gen. I actually think it's a pretty good Dynamax Pokemon if you want to go that route. I assume he's probably going to G-Max his Charizard. But again, Dynamax Frostmoth's no joke. So I think that can be a scary mon. Crawlmarian, I think, has one of the funniest abilities in the game, and I love seeing it. If I get paralyzed by a Pikachu that gets spit at me, so be it. I'll get a laugh out of it and try to work my way around it. So I just think that's a hilarious Pokemon. And lastly, Shedinja. Obviously, got to bring something to hit that thing. I got to make sure something's on my team that can deal with that so it doesn't just get a free W. So yeah, this is my week 1 opponent in the Manchester Mimikyu, ran by Coach Peekaboo. So yeah, these are all the teams for your PWD season coming up. Matches start 2 weeks from today, I believe. So check out the video when it comes out for my week 1 match here against the Manchester Mimikyu. Again, season starts August 10th. And feel free to check out all these other coaches, as there'll be a lot of videos up for the league. So hope you guys enjoy, and yeah, check out the week 1 match in 2 weeks. See you guys.